this point in time, there are 3 industrial sites that we consider to be brownfields, 2 of which are currently in the demolition phase, both of which have had a long tradition and history in the borough of Carlisle. The most dominant one was formerly the Maslin Carpet Mill, now owned by Carlisle Events. The other historic site is the Carlisle Tire and Wheel Manufacturing Facility. That site, too, had been around for about 70 or 80 years. Both of those industries subsequently closed. All the employees lost their jobs, and the manufacturing left the community. The third brownfield site is one that is still currently for sale, but it was formerly the Tyco Electronics site, formerly AMP before that. So altogether, close to 60 acres that's potentially available for redevelopment.
I've started thinking about these industrial sites at least 5 years ago when I was still with the Department of Environmental Protection. They're all located in close proximity to each other, and if you look down on them, they're connected by only a few blocks in each direction. And I thought about how we could tie them together and tie in residential, recreational, create new jobs with new commercial, light industrial perhaps, and even some medical office buildings that would complement the uses at each site as well as the downtown. These 3 sites all closed within 3 years of each other, and we lost hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs, and the sites were boarded up, and people had to look at these sites as where they used to work. So now when these sites get cleaned up and redeveloped, it's going to reinvigorate the entire town and create new jobs for the people that live in those neighborhoods. There'll be opportunities for new jobs for them to work there.
Carlisle Tire and Wheel was such a rock for the community. When I first moved in here, the factory was still going, pretty much running 24 hours a day. It gave a nice sense of security. And then it closed and the factory shuttered and it was just dark. And then over the past year, it's been demolition and rubble, and now it's almost completely gone. But at this point, we also see that there's opportunity because soon enough, something will be built back up.
We saw it as an excellent opportunity to develop a brownfield site. That's what my firm specializes in. We look for contaminated properties that are in key areas of the country and look to repurpose them. I think the immediate impact will be to increase property values. The plant that was there before was pretty antiquated, pretty run down. What's envisioned for the future is a mixed-use development that the community will have easy access to. Getting community involvement is extremely important. If the community rejects a development, it just won't happen. And there'll be a battle, it'll be a struggle all the way. We went out of our way to make sure that we sought input from the community and from the local governments to see what the site could be when it's completed. And those discussions were very, very positive, very informative. And I think they're going to go a long way to giving the community what it needs and what it wants.
All of the 3 sites will be going through the Act 2 process, and the Carlisle Tire and Wheel property is in the process of being evaluated through an environmental assessment, and they have received state funding through the Industrial Site Reuse Program to continue their assessment. We're going to shoot for residential cleanup there so that we can have unlimited end uses at that particular site. The Maslin property entered into the program, and they will also be meeting residential standards where they can. Some parts of the site may only meet a non-residential standard, and that's where a strategic site design will come into play, where we might put the residential on one end of the site and put non-residential end uses where we can't meet the residential standard. And finally, the site that was formerly a Tyco property is almost complete with the Act 2 process, and they are currently going for a non-residential end use standard. So the bottom line is all 3 of these sites will be cleaned up and be able to be reused very shortly.
Public-private partnerships are absolutely the keystone of this entire project. We have owners of the properties that are just as cooperative as you can possibly imagine. As a matter of fact, they exceed our expectations with their cooperation and their let's get this done kind of attitude.
Redevelopment in this area is going to be amazing for Carlisle itself. Our vision truly is to take the downtown Carlisle and extend it to the north end. So we envision it just being a natural transition, a better place for people to really go out and enjoy restaurants, have a nice hotel. As far as the people that live close by, it's certainly going to be nice for them as well. It's much better than having a big brick wall right in front of your face. We feel confident we're going to bring some spice to the area and make it beautiful, the way it should be. This
particular redevelopment effort is what I would call a perfect storm. We have very engaged property owners who are willing to redevelop the properties in such a way that it benefits the community as a whole. We have local government leaders who have been engaged from the very beginning. We've been able to bring in county representatives and state representatives who are also putting some skin in the game to get these sites redeveloped. And finally, we just got an EPA grant for $200,000, one of only 20 in the United States, to continue our planning efforts with the stormwater management and some other initiatives. One thing I will say is it's very exciting to be doing this project in the town where I live, where I'm raising my family, where my husband and I both have businesses. And Carlisle is one of the best kept secrets in Pennsylvania. It's just a very vibrant town, so it's exciting to see these good things happening here.
One of the big things that we've learned about the brownfields is that instead of looking at them as a true obstacle, we have chosen to look at them now as a true opportunity, increasing our tax base, looking at opportunities to employ people. And as we partnered in the private sector and in the public sector, we have truly turned these into opportunities that we think are going to be a real gold mine for the borough and for the greater Carlisle area.